Raise your hand if you have ever experienced social anxiety. According to the National Center of Biotechnology Information, 7% of individuals end up with this disorder within a 12-month period. Now, raise your hand if you have children. According to Sandaz and Siegel, approximately 1 in 25 children have social anxiety. To put that in perspective, that means that one kid in a class of 25 will have this disorder. Today, I'm going to inform you about what social anxiety is, how it affects children, and how you can prevent or treat this disorder. So you're probably wondering, what is social anxiety? Well, social anxiety is a fear of speaking in all public situations. A few symptoms of social anxiety are feeling tired, sweating, trembling, avoiding work and friends in social situations. Also, a lot of people that have this disorder are less likely to get married, and if they do get married, they're more likely to get divorced because they don't want to go out and do things with their significant other because of this disease or disorder. Again, 7% of the individuals are affected by this disorder. Well, now that I've told you about what social anxiety is, let's move on to how it affects children. The effects of social anxiety are a little bit different in children than in adults, because you can never really tell if they're just throwing a tantrum and being a child, or whether they actually have this disorder. A few symptoms are throwing tantrums, crying all the time, complaining about being sick to avoid going to school. They do not want to raise their hand to answer the questions in front of a class. They also won't want to go out to recess because they fear being isolated by not being able to talk to other kids. In the end, it also leads to bullying as well because they don't have any friends to protect them and people see them as vulnerable. And how it affects them later in life, they can end up getting addicted to drugs and alcohol because that will help them escape reality and be able to indulge in conversation with other people. Now that I've told you about children and the effects that it can have on them, I'm going to tell you a little bit about some medications that can help them. Doctors are going to recommend medications for your child, but they do alter the brain and the different chemicals within the brain. I'm not a big fan of medications, but I know a lot of people that do use them. What I would prefer is using CBT treatment, which is cognitive behavioral therapy, which is a combination of talk therapy and behavior therapy. What that does is it helps the child feel more comfortable talking to a person, especially a stranger or someone that they do not know, and helps them get their feelings out. Another treatment is aromatherapy. What that does is it releases electrochemical messages to the center of the brain, which controls your emotion. The best oils to use are lavender oil, frankincense, and chamomile oil. If the child is 6 years or younger, I would recommend putting it in a diffuser so that you can dilute it so it's not as powerful. But if they are a little bit older, you can use a roll-on stick, and you put a few drops of the essential oils as well as coconut oil in there, and they just roll it on all their pressure points so that way they can smell it and it gets directly into their bloodstream. Now that I've told you a little bit about the treatments, let me move on to my conclusion. Today we have learned that social anxiety has a 12% prevalence in a lifetime. So that means that a lot of people are affected by it, just not many people know how to deal with it. Also, social anxiety is the fear of being in front of people and in big group situations, talking in front of professors, friends, even friends, you can get this disorder. Social anxiety can be treated by more than just medication. So don't let a doctor or a physician or anybody tell you that you need to give your child medicine. There are definitely a lot more options out there than just medicine. So now that I've told you about all of the social anxiety in children, treatment, and what it is, I'm going to leave you with a question. To what extent is social anxiety having a negative impact on you or your child? Thank you.